I've got like no real questions from this. I love the particular for me the focus of this is going to be like a little bit of a yin to yang in regards to like, look, there is like a past to your involvement in art.
Oh yeah.
But he's the real positivity of your engagement, particularly with Alex. I think that's like a great story.
Absolutely.
And it's like regular communication you have that is like developmental, but then also let's say there's a spreadsheet somewhere, you can't account for that in data because its value is immeasurable, but also it is of value.
Well,
you know, like,
well, you can measure it, but it's not a form that it's not data that gets you anything. You know, oh, we pay cash for this. Yeah?
Yeah.
But you're doing all this other stuff, but we don't pay for that.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, the way we measure it is the way we're doing it now. We do a video.
Yeah. But like I say, if it's all these little things, you have to test things out, because you don't know where it's going to end up.
Oh yeah, of course. And I think like it's the same for the whole residency program as well, where people just come in and spend a week here developing something, and there's no onus to actually develop something that's invaluable. And I think it's one of those things most people don't know art does, because it's actually really hard to talk about in like a succinct way, and it's maybe more for me to kind of delve into.
You know,
wrapping up the video, there's like a really short question at the end, and it's about titling a story. Now, obviously, we can try and figure it out now, or I can send you the video and you go, I've got a great title for
what
this.
a title? What for this video?
Yeah, so like, let's say like this story that you've got with your engagements through ARC, I think particular with Alex.
Yeah.
What story would you give that relationship maybe that you've got now with ARC?
Synchronicity.
Synchronicity.
Oh, you see, I'm a creative person and a vibe. That's what, synchronicity, because that's what it is. That's all, right? If you talk to any local artist, right, what do they want with the premier venue in their particular area? You know, and the Arc is the premier venue, right? The Stockton for creativity, right? Like if you're talking strictly music, then you go to Georgian Theatre. Right? Yeah. But if you're talking about combined arts, you know, bit of music, a bit of comedy, a bit of theatre, a bit of dance, everything under one roof, then you're talking about the Arc, right? So any creative person...
I'm so sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Yeah, be sorry.
It's all right.
I was in the floor. You have to do a quick edit, right? So any creative person, what they want with their premier venue is synchronicity. They want to be able to go, hey, I've got an idea. It's in its embryonic form. I don't know where it's going to lead, but I need to give it a go, experiment in an appropriate space. I've tried it. Right. Now that I've tried it in an appropriate space, I now know, but I've taken it from like 2D, piece of paper, and in my head, I've taken it to 3D, I've taken it into a space. Oh, I've looked at it in its space. Oh, I have a bigger concept of what it could be. I'm going to go away and do that. Or I've looked at it and realized it needs more thought and it's not a great idea, I scrap it, right? And that's what if you ask any creative person, that's all they want. It's like, oh, I've got an idea. There's a place I can go to where everybody knows my name. Yeah. Where they can go and just go like, okay, let's give it a go, right? Is it a goer? Yes. Does it need more work? Yes. Is it a goer? No. Go back to the drawing board. And that, be able to do that at different levels. Yeah? Because you're like, okay, I've got an idea. It's a small idea. I've tried it. Right. Okay. Go back. I've got a bigger idea. Right. I've tried it. Works. Doesn't work. Go away. I've got an even bigger idea. And all those things, right, are at different levels. But being able to do that at the same venue is also what's important. Because then as a creative person, you're developing an audience and connections, artistic connections.
I think like even like the cross-platforming of stuff through different departments as well is always quite interesting for me. So like I like the idea that like someone in finance here can actually sit and watch some theatre because in the residencies you have a welcome, which you would have been part of, cake and tea and coffee, have a chat about what you're doing, and then later in the week it's like, well, if you want some of the staff to come in and watch it, we'll give you some feedback, and it's like that's like good for the performer, but also good for us to get actually people who in departments who are, you know, ones and zeros on a spreadsheet, let's say specifically finance, but then they get to actually see where all those ones and zeros are going and why the accent comes through it. I think video-wise, mate, we're great. I'm going to start recording unless you've got anything else you'd like to add on or ample or anything.
Well, I mean, keep rolling. Keep rolling. You ask me some questions.
Well, I don't have any.
Don't you? You don't want to know anything more about me? I just walk. He's just this black guy who walks around with a suit every once in a while, and sometimes he walks around in African clothes. What's he all about?
I didn't know this stuff with you when we did the teas online.
Yeah, all right.
So like, I caught uploads then, so that was when my name is Paul was probably like. It's either I don't think it was in infancy. I think it maybe it happened because you had one of your poems that I captioned one of your videos.
Right.
So I remember sending it over, being like, because it's a poem. The words have to be exact. Otherwise, it's not right. It's not the poem. So I remember like sending that over. That was my first experience of like captioning something that was like art, I guess. And then the rest of it was like interview based. And then I started here like 4 years ago. So I think like the work, obviously, I've seen like that change in practice and building and stuff, and just people. Like I always think like people should change. In a business like this, but also like processes shouldn't, and stuff shouldn't die because somebody like I think Alex is a great person. What Annabelle was, but I also see the differences in them, and I also see that like change is good. Like whatever is next, like this year, etc. Will be good. Are you working on anything?
Yeah, I'm working on a couple of things. I'm working on a poetry collection called The Cartographer.
Great.
And cartographers are people who make maps.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. But it's
I know
all.
a few words, Dominic.
Hey, but it's always based. It's based. I was talking to this guy, and I spoken to him for about half an hour, and he'd been all around Africa, and you know, I should have sussed when he called like Sri Lanka Ceylon. Right? I should have. He was of a certain age. And at the end of this conversation, I thought, you know, it was really engaging conversation. And at the end, he said like, oh, my English was really good. Right? I'm nearly 60. I was born in England. It's kind of like, right, okay. So it's that thing of like, hey, people ask you, if you're black, they ask you where you're from. Then they ask you like, oh, I'm from London, or, you know, I'm from Middlesbrough, I'm from wherever. They go like, no, where you're really from.
Yeah, then there's people like, where's your heritage?
You know, where's it? But like, they don't ask Australian people that, or people, you know, Canadian people. Like, no, it's just like, if you're black, it's all based on that basic concept of like, no, where you from? No, where you're really from. And then
from is the thing, isn't it?
Exactly. So I then take that basic idea and go like, okay, where is home? What is home? Is home a physical space, or is it something in your head? And how do you get there? So that's what my latest collection's about. And then another thing I'm doing, people are saying to me, have asked me, when am I going to write about my cancer? Because I had stage 4 cancer.
Yeah, I remember that as part
of
my name is Paul thing.
They said like, oh, it's stage 4 cancer. It's like, oh, okay, that's pretty ropey, right? So like, I'm still here. People go like, why don't you write about that? And it's a case of like, well, it's quite depressing. I'm not that kind of guy. But I have written about cancer in the past. And I did a biochemistry degree, and I've got lots of friends who work in the sciences. And back in the 90s, I used to hang around with my mates who worked at the Institute of Cancer Research, right? So basically, we used to hang out in the social club a lot. And so I've written a collection about that particular time and their particular thought processes, because you've got people there who their entire job is to research about, why people die and how to keep them living.
Yeah.
So, and they all had particular personalities. So that's a particular way of approaching that particular subject. Instead of writing about, the suffering, why don't I write about the people who are actually involved in the work of analyzing under the microscope what actually goes on, and about their particular personalities, which is a different angle of looking at things.
It's like, I always find that like diagnosis stuff fits as like self-grieving kind of thing. So it's like grief, but for your own self.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's not a way to talk about that isn't a weight. I get there will be, because there's no actuality to that, but like it's a very hard subject to even there, like keeping safe and keeping keeping processes going without getting too into stuff. It's like like you've got a vessel and a vehicle in order to like travel around that in your own archives in your head to like see what, but like you're looking back with that post thought of like, well, I've had the diagnosis. I'm still here. Looking back, so I feel like it's such like it's a unique point of view, isn't it? In which case, if it isn't written down, then it definitely.
And then it's a case of like, okay, how? Because I'm always thinking about the end result. Because I don't want to just be, I do stuff and it's just like self-help. It's like it might be cathartic, but at the end of the day, I do edutainment. It's got entertaining, but it's got educational as well. So actually, if I'm writing not actually about the illness, but the personality of the people who have decided to dedicate their lives to finding out how to cure the illness, that's a different take.
And like in the 90s, it was set out as like the impossible task.
Yeah.
It was like, like you got the adverts and stuff, and it was just like you grew up with like you will know someone who dies from this. Like infallible who lives life without that knowledge. But then also it was never like like there's been little moments in the world and news stories now where it's like they've found this, they've done this, and it's immediately international news, because everyone is fighting this thing. It's probably the thing that connects a lot of countries as well, and science departments. They're all probably like, well, actually, massive resources and funding and stuff every year. But also the people that actually go out and do that, are like they're up against something that is just like unimaginable. Science is like that though, isn't it? It's just like,
absolutely.
Ask the question.
Absolutely. So it's a case of like, okay, as a creative person, you collect feelings, emotions, stories, and then that's all the seed material for you to create. And then as a creative person, it's a case of like, I have a particular lens, and my lens is unique to me. Even twins look at the world differently from each other. So I have a particular lens, and because of my status and who I am, I have to use that gift as best as I possibly can for the betterment of the community. Because, how many Black British creatives are there in the Tees Valley who've been here for 30 years doing stuff at a particular level?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't like to guess.
It's me. It's me. It's me.
I was thinking, I just went back to my own childhood. So I was born in '88, so I grew up in the '90s, and there still was only like one or two people in a year group who were non-white. That was like now obviously it's much more diverse. And I think that's great, but like then you think they would have to then be into the arts. And they would, and then I was in my head being like, well, if there's like one or two in the '90s, then that's
another thing which ties into the arc is that I put together an anthology of black, British and Asian poets from the Northeast, right? And what would happen, basically, I would go to events and I met 27 different poets, black or Asian poets, Northeast, right? And they've all bar two have left because of lack of opportunities. And I know there's 27 because I saw every single one of them and said, hey, there's so many great people here, I'm going to put together an anthology. And so, you know, the 27 got whittled down to 22 who sent me the work, and then I got an independent editor, and that got whittled down to 8 people, and that anthology ended up going into the schools, and they used that anthology as part of, you know, Hartlepool. There's schools in Hartlepool who use it as part of their curriculum for diverse voices, which is what I intended it to do in the first place, you know, get more diverse voices in the schools, etc. Yeah. But there was an initial 27 poets who I personally met, right, and majority of them have left the area due to lack of opportunities. And the Ark is one of those places that if the Ark does the things that it's can do and should do and is meant to do, then I'm not saying if those 27 people were around now, they wouldn't leave, but it's all part of the infrastructure of like, okay, you need somewhere where you can actually develop your stuff and show your stuff.
Yeah, and you don't want to brain drain it anyway from like, let's